So hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is my first technical video which I'm going to explain. Alright guys, so what I'm going to explain today is SQL Server. Okay, so first you have to open Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, so before that what you have to do is you have to install the Microsoft SQL Server database engine. After then, this is the kind of UI and kind of front end for us. So this is called Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. So which version basically you can install is you can install Microsoft SQL Server Express Edition, that is 2019, or else what you can do is Microsoft SQL Server Developer Edition. Alright, so you can install that. So let me click on connect. So before that, let's say so we have so many SQL Server has so many services. First is database engine, analysis services, reporting services, integration services, and Azure SSIS integration services. So most of the time analysis is basically it's a kind of visualization part. Reporting as we have that comes under BI. Integration is whenever you want to migrate from one database to another database. Suppose today you are working on SQL Server, so later on you realize that okay, I have used my front end as Java and I'm using back end as SQL Server. Let's move to Oracle. So probably this integration services will help you to migrate from one database to another database. All right. Okay. So most of the time and by and large we will be working on database engine server type. Alright, then this is the server name since I have installed it in my local machine, so it has taken the desktop and the SQL server. Then the authentication is Windows authentication, because if I have to choose SQL server authentication I have to give a username and password which I have not created it. So I think for us Windows authentication is more than sufficient. Alright, click on connect. Okay, so now once you connect to SQL Server, you'll be able to see all this. Alright, database, security, server, object replication, polybus management. So what we can do is we will be mainly working on database. So if you click on database and if you click on system database, alright, so in this system database, you can find there are like 4 system databases that are installed by default. I mean, as part of your SQL Server installation, so you will see master, model, MSDB and MDB database. So these databases are, we called it as a built-in database because it comes by default to us after the installation. So I'll quickly go through this. So I'll say, see, master database we use. See it stores a lot of information about server configuration. It is very important database, and usually database administrators or DBAs, they must take backup of the master database. See, we are able to work in SQL Server by if this database is since this databases are installed, so we can work on SQL Server database. That means it helps SQL Server working. Okay, it makes SQL Server work. So these are the 4 databases. Like model. So model is it stores information about database backup, package, replication, SQL Server agent, and all that stuff. TempDB is it stores the temporary objects like temporary tables and temporary store procedures. And this is the model DB. MSDB is a model DB that is used to create the new DB. So without this default databases, we can't be able to create the SQL work on the SQL Server, and we cannot create the database tables and all that database objects. Alright, so we'll go on the new query button. Click on that. So this is what we get here is a query window. So the query window is used to write the SQL queries or SQL commands. Okay. So now, since we have seen the 4 databases which are built-in databases, so we will see quickly how to create a database. All right, I'll tell you. To create the database, the command is create database. Database name is MindDB. Alright, so I'll create database MindDB. See guys, it really doesn't matter whether you write in capital letter or small letter, it really doesn't matter. Alright, but we should maintain a standard, we maintain uniformity. So probably you can write like this, and it really doesn't matter if you write like this also. Create database MindDB, really doesn't matter. Alright, so just select it, click on execute. So now this says commands completed successfully. That means your database is created. So the completion time, this is the timestamp, how much time it took to complete. Alright, so if I select this query again and try to execute. So before executing, I have to first select the query, then click on execute. Now it is saying database MindDB already exists, choose a different name. So since the database is already existing, it is SQL Server is not allowing me to create the database. So let's see. Just sometimes my this button doesn't get refresh. So alright, let me close it. Go to project. Sorry, view object explorer. Okay, so I'll just press F5. Maybe it will get refreshed. Okay, click on databases. Now you can see this MindDB is created, right? Just click on database. Okay, here, then click on MindDB. So since we have created MindDB, see these are the database objects which are created part of this database creation, as part of this database creation. So what is created is database diagrams, tables, views, external resources, synonyms, programmability, service broker, storage and security. Alright, so thing is that so whenever we are creating a database or user defined database, so since we have created it is called user defined database, our database. So these are the objects which are created, but we should not be worried about everything. We can only work on now tables, views and programmability. So we don't have to worry on the remaining stuff, because storage, security, service broker, synonyms maybe you can use, external resources, these are the objects basically DBA has to deal with it. DBA means a database administrator. So database administrator will probably whenever he'll actually database administrator is a person who takes care of the backups, which takes care if the SQL server is down, is SQL server is not working, the performance is not good, it takes care of backup and the queries are not really executing well. There are some issues maybe in the performance. He takes care of that. He tunes the query. He takes the backup of database, and he is also a person who actually helps whenever we migrate from one database to another database. So this is basically I don't know pretty much about the DBA's roles and responsibility. Probably this is what I can say. Takes care of backups, and that person takes care of this database query tunings and all that stuff. Okay, we don't have to be really worried about what a DBA really does. Okay, so since I've created my own database, you can see this database is created, and we can see how we can use this database. So by default, it's see by default this SQL server points to master or MSDB. Alright. So now if I want to use my database, see this is, you can see available databases. Now it is pointing to MSDB. So if I want, it should point to my database. So what is that command we can use? We can use MyDB. Alright, correct. Just select execute. Now it has used my database. By default it points to master, and sometimes MSDB. But now since I've used it, so it is pointing to SQL Server is pointing to MindDB. So now from now onwards, how, I mean, if I want to create a table, if I want to create a view, whatever I want to do, it will be creating all the objects inside my database. All right. So now I want to delete the database which I've created. Let's say it's sample database. After I have done all the hands-on exercises, I want to delete it. So how can I do that? So basically I can delete it by using drop data database MindDB. So guys, I just woke up early in the morning, so that's what I thought of. It is silence everywhere. So let's do it. Let's record a video. So okay, so drop database mind database. All right, if you click on it, see it is saying that you cannot drop the. So you have to thoroughly read the errors, because you can actually understand what is the issue, probably the error, by looking at the by reading the error thoroughly. It is saying cannot drop database MindDB because it is already in use. It means what it is saying is you are in that MSDB, we are inside the MindDB database. You are not supposed to delete it. You should go out of the MindDB database. So what you can do is use master. So by default it was pointing to master, so हम लोग ये select कर सकते हैं use master. So now if you guys look, it is pointing to master. Now if I want to delete the MindDB mind database which I have created, use a different database, just go ahead and click on execute. Now commands completed successfully. That means MindDB is deleted. Maybe press F5, or this is a button you have to press. Okay, refresh button. Then if you go to databases, now you won't be able to see MindDB database. That is removed completely. So you have to remember one thing. Once you remove this database, all the objects which are created as part of this database will be deleted. Okay, so database will be deleted along with all its objects. Okay, but make sure in the real time when you join a company, don't ever try to drop a database unless until it is your database. Just think about it 100 times. Okay, don't it might you might end up losing your job if you wrongly delete a database. You're deleting the database by mistake, so you might lose your job, I'm saying you. So make sure you do not do this activity. So this is for the learning purpose. You must know how to drop a database. All right, so thank you guys, thanks a lot for watching my video. Please support me, because I'll come up with so many great contents. So that's it for now. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.